Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So here we are reading. So it's the day after Nityananda Trayodasi, so we just thought we'd still try to be near Lord Nityananda, remember him. And we're inside because it is pretty cold outside.
Very cold.
Yeah. And so like that. So where are we?
Canto 3, Chapter 22, Text 8. The marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti.
Okay. Great. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 8. O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter. Purport. With the spiritual master, having received his message and executed it perfectly and sincerely, he has a right to ask a particular favour from the spiritual master. Generally, a pure devotee of the Lord or a pure disciple of a bona fide spiritual master does not ask any favour either from the Lord or the spiritual master. But even if there is a need to ask a favour from the spiritual master, one cannot ask that favour without satisfying him fully. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to disclose his mind regarding the function he wanted to execute due to affection for his daughter.
So consonance means agreement or compatibility between opinions or actions. So when the disciple is in perfectly in agreement with the spiritual master.
Yeah, so now that the formalities, they've shown appreciation, affection, respect for each other.
Culture.
Yeah.
What they've done is they've acted according to Vaishnava etiquette and culture.
Yeah, now they get down to business.
So now he wants to disclose his mind regarding the function he wanted to execute due to affection for his daughter. Okay. Text 9. My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapad. I just noticed in the Sanskrit the first line is Priyavratottanapadoha. Priyavratottanapadoha. Priyavrata and Upanatad. Swasa is sister. Interesting. Imagine if you got that as an initiated name. Priyavratottanapadosaha Swasa. Devi dasi. My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapad. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. Purport. The grown-up daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Devahuti, had good character and was well qualified. Therefore, she was searching for a suitable husband, just befitting her age, qualities, and character. The purpose of Manu's introducing his daughter as the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapad, two great kings, was to convince the sage that the girl came from a great family. She was his daughter, and at the same time the sister of Kshatriyas. She did not come from a lower class family. Manu therefore offered her to Kardama as just suitable for his purpose. It is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independently. She expressed her desire for a suitable husband corresponding to her character, age, and quality, and the father himself, out of affection for his daughter, took charge of finding such a husband. Interesting. So this is all about the tendency to, to try to find a a suitable partner or husband for the lady. And here we see that the father is taking it upon himself to do that. He's not leaving it up to the girl to kind of go out to some nightclub or wherever you might go, or meeting people at work. That's where people, that's where people go to meet people, life partners. It is. That's what do you think? I mean, maybe not. I'm getting old now. I guess people don't do that anymore. Where do they go to? Where do you go to find partners, huh?
Library.
Well, there you go. So, how we manage to connect, never the same. Anyway, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's very cultured, protective. I think we said it earlier before once we got cut off, and it was, but it's definitely something I can relate to in my own family. I don't read it and think, oh, what's that? Definitely.
Yeah. So it's but having said that, it's not that it was actually. It's not that your father arranged. You didn't want your father to arrange your marriage.
Maybe too much information for our dear viewers.
Well, we can talk about culture, but then we have to talk about the practical application as well.
Right.
But okay, so we'll move on to the next verse. Anyone who wants more details, you can inquire in the comments section.
All right, text 10.
Mm-hmm.
The moment she heard from the sage Narada of your noble character, learning, beautiful appearance, youth and other virtues, she fixed her mind upon you. Purport. The girl Devahuti did not personally see Kadma Muni, nor did she personally experience his character or qualities, since there was no social intercourse by which she could gain such understanding. But she heard about Kadma Muni from the authority of Narada Muni. Hearing from an authority is a better experience than gaining personal understanding. She heard from Narada Muni that Kadma Muni was just fit to be her husband. Therefore she became fixed in her heart that she would marry him, and she expressed her desire to her father, who therefore brought her before him.
Therefore she became fixed in her heart that she would marry him, and she expressed her desire to her father, who therefore brought her before him. Okay. It's a little bit confusing. Brought her before him, yeah.
Yeah, so she hadn't met him, but just on the, just hearing that he's a decent bloke. That's what you do though, isn't it? You ask your friends. I mean, I definitely, not loads of people, but some people do ask me, do you know this devotee? You have to be careful. Obviously, Narada Muni is obviously a far superior character. Sometimes if people ask me, I may be like, I don't really like them. You have to be careful how you give your feedback. But I think it's very admirable that, based on not, say, lust at first sight, but, okay, I'm looking for a decent guy, and you've said this, and this, it ticks all the boxes, so, okay. Which is interesting. It reminded me when you're growing up and you've never met, people like pop stars, film stars, but they just think, yeah, but look, they do this, and this, and it'll be okay. But you have no idea what these people are like.
Didn't quite understand.
Yeah, you think Link, never mind.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Okay, so we're moving on. One way to get through the chapter. Therefore, please accept her. This is text 11. Therefore, please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your household duties. The words griha medishu karmasu mean in household duties. Another word is also used here, sarvatmana nurupam. Sarvatmana nurupam. The purport is that a wife should not only be equal to her husband in age, character, and qualities, but must be helpful to him in household duties. There you go. Isn't that amazing? I have a little bit of a domestic here. The household duty of a man is not to satisfy his sense gratification. There you go. But to remain with a wife and children and at the same time attain advancement in spiritual life. One who does not do so is not a householder, but a grihamedi. Two words are used in Sanskrit literature. One is grihasta and the other is grihamedi. The difference between grihamedi and grihasta is that grihasta is also an ashram, or spiritual order. But if one simply satisfies his senses as a householder, then he is a grihamedi. For a grihamedi, to accept a wife means to satisfy the senses. But for a grihasta, a qualified wife is an assistant in every respect for advancement in spiritual activities. It is the duty of the wife to take charge of household affairs and not to compete with the husband. A wife is meant to help, but she cannot help her husband unless he is completely equal to her in age, character, and quality. There's a lot of very powerful points in here. Any thoughts from your side?
Yeah, should work together.
Okay. Simplified the whole thing.
In conclusion.
In conclusion, yeah. Well, Prabhupada brings up these 2 points, which maybe haven't been mentioned thus far in the Bhagavatam, which is grihasta and grihamedi. Grihasta is an ashram, and ashram means a place of shelter. An ashram is a place where one takes ashray, or shelter. So the grihasta ashram is a place where a couple come together and they have children, but they're working together, as you said, to assist one another to grow spiritually. Grihamedi is in an ashram. It's a way of life. And actually, I've heard it explained by senior devotees that as a grihamedi, even many of the people in the modern day don't even live up to the idea of grihamedi, because a grihamedi isn't just a sense gratifier in the extreme cases that we probably understand in Kali Yuga. A grihamedi means that they still perform religious activities, like they still perform yajnas, they still, do pious activities, but their focus isn't necessarily for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. It's so that they get good results and that they become pious, and they, Lakshmi comes and they become wealthy, and then in the afterlife they go to the heavenly worlds. That's a grihamedi. Below that is not griha anything, it's just, Prabhupada would say, animal life. So, there are people who are pious, but their focus is just to get the results. They're karma kundis. They're in it for performing activities that are spiritual, religious, or pious, but so they please their own senses. That's a grihamedi. Grihasta means they're in it, they're doing the activity, but they're trying their best to do it as an act of loving devotion to Krishna, to God, to satisfy the Lord. That's grihasta. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And the other part about, the wife's roles, the male's roles. In Kali Yuga, these things may be switched all around. Mm-hmm. We can argue the toss about that, but the fact of the matter is that that's the way that it is in Kali Yuga. So it may be, you have this idea, there may be a house husband, someone who stays home and takes care of the house, and the wife works. I mean, these things are there, and but the principle is, as you said, simplifying it, that they work together to make sure that things have to be taken care of in the household. It's not that the house becomes like a dump. we just visited one wonderful devotee recently, and I mean the house was just so immaculately well kept and clean, and we were both just like, wow, this is like high pujari standard cleanliness everywhere.
Cleaner.
Clean, and it's really, so that creates a sattvic environment for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So it's not that, whatever, I'm just the person who cleans the house. No. Keeping the house clean is a conducive activity to the cultivation of spiritual life. And this is the key to success in anything that we do, which is being able to connect it clearly in our pursuit of the development of our bhakti and our devotional service. So even if you're just to use the term, a simple housewife, that function and role can be seen as creating and cultivating an environment that is conducive for the progress in spiritual life. And it's needed. Otherwise, I mean, why do we clean so much in like the pujari room? Or why did Prabhupada stress? Because cleanliness is next to godliness, so things like that. There are other things here that we could probably discuss. It's an interesting point Prabhupada brings up about not to compete with the husband. I think that's an interesting thing that, again, in the modern day, I was just talking with someone now about this idea that there's this thing, we can be whatever we want to be, you just have to strive and make headway. And okay, no problem, to some extent, yes. But at the same time, we all have a role to play. But in this, what I got from it, and you may get something different, is that, being in a man's body, the male false ego is a very delicate thing. It's so full of pride, and generally it's chivalrous. It's about being, in charge, being the protector, being the savior. All of that stuff, whether we like it or not, is involved. Just like we may talk about the spiritual, but the soul is still encased in a body that has to deal with functions. You still got to eat, you still got to sleep, you still have to go to the bathroom. So in that space, I guess you could say in this situation, the male is being taken as the dominant personality in the relationship, or you could say the alpha. Then, competition could be awkward. Now, one might say, what if you have an alpha female and an alpha male? Then competition may be beneficial, actually, in that relationship. But I think the general idea is, because look, you've got Devahuti, who's coming in a Kshatriya line, Kshatriya brother, Kshatriya father, and so she's going to have some Kshatriya nature in her, which means Kshatriya, according to Bhagavad Gita, means Ishvara Bhav, means one likes to control. And then you've got Kardama Muni, who's clearly like such a Brahmin, and it's like easygoing in one sense, and not trying to control things depending on Krishna. So there could be a tendency for some awkwardness there, which is why previous verses were explaining that generally you don't marry outside of your class or your classification, because it's going to create some sort of awkwardness. So a Kshatriya would marry a Kshatriya, right? Mm-hmm. And Brahmin would marry Brahmin. But Brahmin men were allowed to marry Kshatriya ladies, but Kshatriya men were not generally allowed to marry Brahminical ladies. Right? I think that's what Prabhupada said in the previous purport. Except what was the instant that he gave, that Shukracharya's daughter, he gave permission for, who was it? Was it Yadu? I can't remember now, to marry his daughter. Anyway, I've rambled on a lot and my wife's getting bored, and that's my tendency.
No one, Paul, we're all listening, rapt attention.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, I think there's lots in this purport. It's a very valuable purport.
Okay.
Should we finish there or try to read one more?
Well, the next one's little, we'll just read it.
Okay, good.
Text 12. To deny an offering that has come of itself is not commendable, even for one absolutely free from all attachment, much less one addicted to sensual pleasure. Purport. In material life, everyone is desirous of sense gratification. Therefore, a person who gets an object of sense gratification without endeavour should not refuse to accept it. It's like, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Cardinal Muni was not meant for sense gratification, yet he aspired to marry and pray to the Lord for a suitable wife. This was known to Swayambhuva Manu. He indirectly convinced Cardinal Muni, "You desire a suitable wife like my daughter, and she is now present before you. You should not reject the fulfillment of your prayer. You should accept my daughter."
She's being a little
cheeky.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's that kind of Kshatriya thing, isn't it, you know? He said really nice, "Oh, I've come, this is the real reason, let me reveal my mind, I brought my daughter, she's suitable, she's from a good family." And then he kind of just throws on top, you know, but, you know, one shouldn't deny an offering that comes of its own accord, you know?
Because I bet he gets upset if Cardinal Muni said, "I'm not interested
Not
in your
interested,
daughter.
then,
She
yeah.
ain't all that." Oh dear.
That'd be interesting to see where it goes. Just imagine if you had choose your own adventure book here. Well, what if Cardinal Muni said, "No, stuff you mate, not interested." But fortunately, he doesn't say that. So, but yeah, I guess you could get what we got. Well, we come to it. It's the beginning of the 4th canto, isn't it? Your favorite pastime of Daksha and Lord Shiva.
Oh my God, yeah. I love it.
So, where Daksha wasn't so happy with the fact that his wife married Lord Shiva, and so he harbored resentment.
Love that.
And, so Kshatriyas, you cross them and it's not a good thing.
No.
All right, so I guess we'll conclude there, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Thank you all very much for tuning in. Hope you are relishing hearing Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Lord Nityananda Mahajan ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Go Premanandi. Hare Hare Bol.